Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Danger Equipment BMA hybrid boxing and MMA gloves. So stay tuned. Hey guys, Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Danger Equipment BMA, which stands for Belfort Martial Arts, hybrid boxing and MMA gloves. I got these in the white and gold colorway. 14 ounces in Velcro. You can also get this in lace up, anywhere between 8 to 14 ounces, with a total of, I believe, 6 colors to choose from, which you can check out on Danger Equipment's website. It's made of full genuine leather on the exterior of the glove with a micro suede liner on the inside of the hand compartment, and utilizes what I believe is layered foam padding with a medium to soft consistency over the knuckles, and the gloves are manufactured in Thailand. Now, this is a collaboration glove between Danger Equipment and Vitor Belfort, and actually has a patented design. And to me, this is basically like a larger hybrid version of a mixed martial arts glove. You know, typically MMA gloves are a little bit smaller in profile with less padding over the knuckles. To me, this is a hybrid between an MMA glove with the style with the open hand exposure with the detached thumb. But this one puts more of an emphasis on more of a contemporary boxing glove style padding over the knuckles, where the padding on here, you're looking at about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of padding over your knuckles. So that's really where the key difference with this glove is with the design. Now, obviously you have the exposed open finger design on the inside of the glove. You do have that detached thumb. So in my opinion, this is not what I would consider a glove that I would use for sparring, but for training, obviously you can do that for training. And again, this to me is designed to be more prominently an MMA glove. I personally don't practice MMA, so I can't sit here and tell you guys, okay, it does great on this for you know, parrying or blocking kicks and knees and whatnot, and the clinch and grappling, because I don't do that. So I don't want to mislead you guys into thinking I know anything about that. I can really only speak on the boxing portion of it, and then of course the actual ergonomics and how it feels when I land my punches with these gloves. But because you do have that kind of that open hand and palm design, that allows you to do more than a traditional boxing glove, to where you can grapple, you can grab your opponent. You do have the detached thumb, which I said, you know, which gives you some autonomy on how you strike and how you kind of work on your defense and offense. Now, from a design standpoint, for a 14-ounce glove, I'd say they're a little bit more on the medium to larger side in profile. These are definitely larger than your traditional MMA gloves from what I've seen when it comes to those more compact MMA type gloves. So they're a little bit on the larger side. And again, I think that has more to do with the fact that these are going to be a little bit more of a boxing style glove in that regard. The leather on here has more of a subdued satin finish to it. You do have the BMA logo on the back. The gold on here is not metallic. I'd say it's a little bit more of a pearlized gold on the back of the glove. You do have that cross stitching on the back with the 4-inch Velcro strap with white piping around the strap. You also have white piping at the bottom of the cuff that comes all the way through on the palm side of the glove. The back of the wrist support, you're looking at about, I'd say, 3/4 inch of firm density foam padding on the back of the wrist. On the inner portion of the wrist, they definitely give you a lot of padding, a lot of emphasis, and really giving yourself that wrist support. So you're looking at about 1 inch, a really nice thick padding on the inner portion of the wrist that you can see there. Kind of reminds me of Mexican style gloves, where Mexican style gloves really put a lot of padding on the inner portion of the wrist. You do have the Velcro strap again that shows you the weight, 14 ounces, and this is a ratcheting style strap. So you can see the strap actually goes through this opening right here, and then you basically come across and secure the glove. Again, with the detached thumb, the inner liner is that micro suede type liner. They also stitch on a piece of that micro suede material right here on the thumb as well for grip, as well as to kind of wick away the moisture. White piping, you have that larger hand opening, And then you also have the finger holes for where your fingers go through to grip onto the glove. And there is no actual grip bar, which to me is a big design flaw, which we'll discuss here in a second. But you do have all of that with this glove. And again, much thicker padding that resembles more of a contemporary boxing glove. Now, from a quality standpoint, the quality on these gloves are really, really nice. I mean, like a lot of Thai equipment that you get, you know, the leather on here is very thick, is very durable. You know, these gloves are really meant to stand the test of time. You know, the stitching throughout the glove is done very nicely, and you can see for yourself, it's done very clean. You know, there's no glaring areas throughout this glove where I would point out and say, okay, that's a big issue and needs to be addressed. I feel like the entire glove on the thumb side, everything looks good there. Over the knuckles, good amount of symmetry. Everything looks really clean on both sides. Looks good there as well. Very well balanced because of that wrist support, so you get a good amount of balance right there. The big con, the big drawback is going to be the weight. So when I put these gloves on the scale, the left glove weighed in at, I believe, 11.1 and the right glove was at 11.3 ounces. So these gloves are almost 3 ounces under their advertised weight of 14 ounces, which to me is a huge flaw with this glove. So, and these are the largest size they offer at 14. So if these are 3 ounces under, I can only imagine, which I would hope they wouldn't be, but how much would the 8-ounce gloves weigh? Would they be 5 ounces? Because these are 3 ounces underweight. So that's the big flaw with this glove, is going to be the weight being so far off. For you to be 3 ounces underweight tells me you guys aren't even checking the weight when you guys send these gloves out. So that's the big flaw in that. But structurally, the actual glove feels really good. You know, good weight distribution. The symmetry between both gloves is done very nicely. You can see the logos are all in the same spot where they need to be at. The height and the width of the gloves is exactly on point. The bend at the knuckles for that finger compartment is the same angle and bent in nicely. Same thing with the thumb positioning. So, you know, in terms of symmetry, sizing, everything looks really good. Yeah, the big thing with these gloves is definitely going to be the weight. Comfort-wise, sliding the hands into the gloves, they're definitely a different sensation than I'm personally used to, just because I don't review MMA gloves. So it has that open hand design, right? So the first thing you feel is going to be the liner. That micro suede feels really good. The wrist strap is really nice, very secure. And then coming to the thumb portion, the thumb feels great. Nice deep thumb compartment. It's detached, so I don't have any issues there with rolling my hand up and making a nice tight fist. Now, the issue I have personally is the fact that there is no grip bar here. And again, I'm not an expert when it comes to MMA gloves. And when you make a fist with this, it almost feels like you're pulling on your skin because of how tight this leather is, these leather loops where your fingers go through. And you're making a fist with that. And then there's also this large gap between this portion of your hand or your knuckles and the actual inner portion of the foam. So you can see just how big of a gap there is between that. And what ends up happening is when I'm landing punches, this flap of foam will come down and kind of slap up against my fingers. And that gets pretty annoying after a while when you get that slapping feeling against your fingers. And I feel like it kind of causes a little, I wouldn't say blistering, but just kind of like an irritation with my fingers. The other thing, because there is no grip bar, when I make a fist, I find that my index finger continues to kind of hit this white piece of piping right here, even when I make a nice tight fist. And when I land my punches, I could feel my fingertip digging into this white piping, which just causes some discomfort. So to me, that is the big issue with the actual piping and the way it feels when you make a fist with that and you land punches. Protection and performance-wise, the padding on here does a really good job of absorbing shock. So to me, this is a really good glove for bag work. You can do the mitts with these. I do like the foam composition being more on the medium side. So in terms of the foam, I think they did a really good job of selecting the thickness and the type of foam for this glove. But because of just the way it feels, the hand ergonomics to me is kind of a little bit off. I feel like the experience could be so much better, and they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit with just kind of that gap. I feel like if they, added another way for your fingers to kind of hook on to the tip of this foam, so when you bend your hand down, this foam would come down with it rather than just kind of flop around by itself, then to me that would be kind of a game changer with the way this glove would feel, rather than it just kind of hanging out by itself. I feel like if you were able to grab it outside of the grip right here, another kind of loop for your fingers to go through and to really grab it down, it would bring that down and it would make the glove feel more secure and just more kind of wrapped around your hand, if that makes sense. So to me, it's a balanced glove in terms of padding, but there's definitely some ergonomic improvements I feel that they can make. Cost-wise, these gloves are $182. I think that's a little high in regards to other gloves. I do love the quality of these gloves. I love the thickness of the leather. I like the way they look. So from an aesthetic design standpoint, you have the Danger logo there on the thumb. The way it looks, the quality is definitely there. I like the padding a lot. I just feel like the hand ergonomics are a little bit off. And the fact that this glove is a hybrid, I think this would be more attractive to the people that are in the kind of the MMA, mixed martial art, kickboxing, Muay Thai community, because they rely on more of their technique when it comes to grappling, clinching, and grabbing, and parrying other types of strikes outside of traditional boxing strikes, which are your straights, your hooks, and your uppercuts, right? So I think that will be more appealing, but I definitely think they have a really good base on what they're trying to achieve with this glove. So I give them credit for that, on trying to innovate that. I just feel like there's a little bit more that needs to be tweaked in this portion of the glove to really perfect it, to give you just that really comfortable feel to where when you put this glove on, you don't feel any kind of discomfort in your hand. And currently I feel like it's kind of incomplete in regards to that. So a bit high on the price, but if they can, tweak those and make it better than what it is now, I definitely think it would be fair at the price point they currently have it at. So if you guys have any questions or comments, put them down below. I'll also put the link in the description box where you can find these Danger Equipment BMA hybrid gloves. See you guys later. Peace.